So in case you missed it,
5 weeks into the second year of my program, and it has been a hot ass mess. Lots of problems, lots of drama, lots of changes. The semester is in shambles, y'all. There's really no other way to put it. The semester is in complete and utter shambles. It is in ruin.
this semester has been a lot. But we made it. We made it. Honestly, words cannot even begin to describe how relieved I am for this semester to be over. Well, it's technically not over yet. I'm recording this video in like the middle of the final week of the semester. So like technically it's over, but like not quite yet. But in my mind it's over. So it's over. But yeah, I am in such desperate need of a break. Like y'all don't even know. Mentally, I checked out a month ago. And ever since then, I have just been like going through the motions of just like getting through the end of the semester. And finally, it is time for my fall semester recap. So let's just get into it. Hey, hello, my name is Jojo and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome. So, I don't even really know where to begin. Okay, so I guess the most logical place to begin would be an update on the strike. So if you remember from my last update video, my November update, I mentioned that the part-time faculty at my school had gone on strike, and out of support and solidarity, a lot of the full-time faculty also went on strike. Also, us as students were trying somehow, some way to show solidarity. But essentially, people were striking. And I did not have class for a while. But literally, like, on Sunday of this week, the week that I'm filming this video, the final week of school, administration and the part-time faculty union came to what they refer to in their statement as a tentative agreement, which basically meant that effective immediately the strike was over and all classes were set to resume. One problem: it's the final week of classes. So like, what were they really expecting was going to get accomplished this week? Who fucking knows? But yes, the strike is technically over. However, there are a few other like pending situations that kind of came out of the strike that are still happening. So the strike is over, but there's now a student occupation of the university center taking place. They like made a vote of no confidence in the administration, and that's a whole thing that's happening right now. And I think there are a couple of other like grievances that came out of the strike among students and other faculty members, where there were a lot of like hostile racial undertones and a lot of what was being said during the strike. And so like there's that lingering piece of it as well. So yeah, that is where we are with the strike. Basically, with the strike being over and it being the final week of classes, a couple of my classes kind of like scrambled to figure out ways to have like final sessions or final meetings. So I guess that leads me into a recap of my classes, or at least a recap of the time I did have in class, which we know wasn't a lot. So with the counseling center testing supervision, if you recall, that's the class where I had 2 testing patients and I wrote 2 full reports. Due to the strike, only one of my reports was able to get reviewed. My second one is still currently pending. Even though the strike is over, there's like some weird, like, I think contractual limits with the supervisor of the class, the professor of the class, where like after a certain date, she, I don't think, is allowed to technically supervise our cases anymore. And I think that date is approaching, so there's no way that she'll be able to review everyone's second reports before that date. And so I think there's like some pending situation happening there where someone else might come in and review our second reports so that we can get the feedback to the patients hopefully like shortly after the winter break. Yeah, that's where I am with testing supervision. Overall, I really liked the class. I really did. The professor was amazing. She's hilarious. Through this class, I've kind of developed a new, I don't want to call it a love for assessment, but definitely like I'm feeling drawn to it in some ways. And I'm taking another testing class next semester, as well as I'm considering applying to a few assessment externships. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know what's happening with me in assessment this year, but definitely something is happening. So I'll keep y'all posted. Ethnicity in clinical theory was an emotional roller coaster of a class. That class also stopped meeting during the strike, and technically our final day of that class was actually last week. And so because the strike technically came to an end after we were supposed to have our final class, the professors kind of just sent us an email saying we can submit our final assignment if we would like feedback on it, but it's not necessarily a requirement. And yeah, overall, the professor for that class is also my dissertation advisor. So naturally, I just adore her in general. But the class, I think, despite it being so emotional for me, it also made me understand a lot more about myself and my relationship with like identities and how I talk about them, how I bring them up with my clients. Through this class, I have become more comfortable with talking about identity with my clients, and I feel like that's only going to continue as I progress through my training, which is something that I'm really happy about, because that was something that I wanted to start doing this semester in particular. Like that was one of my goals as far as my clinical training was concerned, was to become more comfortable with bringing up identities, locating myself socially with my clients, having them socially locate themselves, and us talking about what that might mean in terms of how we work together. And I've started doing that in small ways, but slowly working to build up my confidence in having those conversations with my clients. So overall, really good experience with the class. It just brought out a lot of anger and frustration and sadness and all of the things, but the time we were able to have with the class, I appreciate it. Clinical externship seminar. So in total, I had about half of a semester worth of classes, actual classes of this course. So a semester is what, 15 weeks long? So in total, I believe we met 7 or 8 times. And that is obviously for multiple reasons. The first being that we had a small break earlier in the semester because of what happened with that class at the beginning of the semester, and then with the strike happening in November, we also stopped meeting at that point. And so I can't really speak to like a full experience in that class, unfortunately. I really wish I could, because what I was able to experience post earlier semester break was really good. But after that earlier semester break happened, we literally only had like, I don't even remember, like 3 or 4 meetings before the strike started. And so unfortunately my time in that course was really limited. Thankfully, the professor post-strike has also reached out to us and said that she will be allowing us to submit our final case formulations, which was always intended to be the final assignment for that class. So she is allowing us to submit it, and she will be giving us feedback, because those case formulations, for the vast majority of us, will also be the formulations we submit with our externship application. So there's that, which is good. But overall, what little I was able to experience of the course and of the professor, I mean, it seemed good for the few weeks that it was good. It started off really bad, and yeah, that's it. And then there's assessment of individual differences, which can literally only be described as a complete dumpster fire of a class. Yeah, there is literally no other way for me to describe it. I have no words to describe what that class became, the shadow course that it became. Like I've mentioned in other update videos, I will be talking about what happened with both the clinical externship seminar and the assessment of individual differences class in a separate video. It's going to be a story time of me basically explaining in full detail what happened, why it happened, and how I felt about it. So yeah, moving on. Overall with the classes this semester, the combination of the mess that was the beginning of the semester and then the mess that was the strike basically really fucked us over. So I've heard, I don't know how far these conversations have gone or kind of what's been talked about so far, but I've heard from some of my cohort members who have spoken to a couple of admin that there is talks of somehow trying to make up the class time that we missed for like the PhD students, and like trying to figure out how that can happen, because we missed so much class. It basically comes down to like a clinical competency. Why are those words so hard for me to say? It's a clinical competency question, concern, really, because APA requirements and, you know, licensure requirements and all of that. So I don't know what's gonna happen in spring semester, but that's what I've heard so far. We'll see. Yeah. As far as my clinical work goes, I've said it every single update. I absolutely adore the counseling center and my supervisors and the director. They have been amazing throughout this entire ordeal, especially the strike, and have like really like stepped up to the plate during a time where us externs needed them. At least that's my perception of their response to everything. I'm not sure if everyone in the cohort feels that way, but that's how I feel. Both of my supervisors have been absolutely amazing and supportive during this time. The director has been absolutely amazing and supportive during this time for me. I will say though, as we are approaching the end of the semester, I am going away for 2 weeks, right? Like I'm literally, I scheduled 2 weeks of vacation. Well, the center is closed for the week between Christmas and New Year's, but then I took an additional week off after New Year's. And so starting the week of Christmas, I'm gone for 2 weeks, right? And yet they're scheduling me for intakes with students like the week I'm leaving. Like I'm leaving on a Friday and I have an intake scheduled for that Tuesday. And I'm like, what sense does it make to schedule an intake if I'm then going to be gone for 2 weeks? Like, just wait until I come back. Anyway, that's just like a personal like annoyance. I just don't see the point in scheduling an intake for the week that I'm supposed to be going out of town for 2 weeks. It just makes no sense to me, but I get it. Our wait list is really long. We need to get students in so they can be seen, I guess. But like I said, overall, I've had an amazing experience at the counseling center. I am so excited to go home for winter, have some time off so that I can regain some functionality, and then hopefully come back in January and be the best therapist that I can be for my clients. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel like for the past few weeks, with everything that I've had going on, with the strike, with all of the personal things that have been happening, I don't feel like I've been the best therapist I could be for my clients. And that's just because internally, like, I'm fading. There's like the little flame, candle flame inside of me, and it's just growing dimmer and dimmer each day. And it is going to go out very soon if I don't get a break. So that's where I'm at with the counseling center. I just hope that once I go on this break and I come back, I will feel rejuvenated and I will be back on top of my therapist game, because I just don't feel like I've been there lately. And I feel like that's not fair to my clients and my patients. So yeah. And as far as like my clients go, I have so far really liked the vast majority of them. I've had my first client that I wasn't particularly fond of, and that was a very interesting experience for me to process in supervision. It didn't happen in the way that I thought it would happen. And it's so funny because when I started talking about this client in particular in supervision, my supervisor could immediately tell, like she was able to tell before I could, that I didn't like this client, just because like of how I was describing them. And like I had this tone when I would talk about them, and my supervisor literally said to me, "You're triggered." And I was like, "What? No. Me? Triggered? Absolutely not." And she was like, "Come on." And then we talked about it a little bit more, and then I was like, "Huh. Yeah, no, I actually don't like them." And then we talked about what that meant for the treatment and why I was feeling that way and what I could learn from this experience. Because it's not like when you don't like a client, you can just be like, "Ugh, I don't like you, I don't want to work with you." Like if you realize that like you're not particularly fond of a client, you still gotta work with them unless they decide they don't want to work with you. But I've processed all of that in supervision, and now that I've been able to process all of that, our sessions are fine. I'm still working with this client. I no longer have a dislike for them. I actually look forward to seeing them every week now. So good work is being done. And my research. I accomplished pretty much nothing that I wanted to accomplish this semester with my research due to my own shit that I had going on. And it's been really hard for me to not beat myself up over that. I actually literally right before I started recording this had a meeting with my advisor, my dissertation advisor, because I have not met with her in about a month. Like I said in my last update, I had to cancel my dissertation meeting that we were supposed to have, and then I kind of just like never followed up because I just kind of stopped working on everything, and I felt so bad, and like my anxiety kind of just took over and was like, "Well, you haven't done anything for 30 days. Like she is going, like you can't just like pop up now and be like, 'Hey, I'm back. Sorry, I haven't done anything. This is what happened.' Like it's not gonna matter. Like whatever you have going on personally is not gonna matter because like you were supposed to be doing this work and you just didn't do it." So she actually reached out to me and like wanted to check in, and when I saw that email come in, I was like terrified. But it was literally like we just met, and she really just wanted to check in to make sure that I was okay because she hadn't heard from me in so long. So I told her everything that, well, not everything, but I gave her more detail than I've given most people about what's been going on with me, and kind of where I'm at status wise with all of the different things that we had been working on. And I can kind of talk about it now, because I've kind of had time to process everything. Between October and November, just was like going through a pretty serious health scare, and I was like going to the doctor and getting some tests done and waiting on results. Thankfully, I am okay, but for a good 3-4 weeks, so basically between mid-October to mid-November, my health was a huge concern for me. But also in the midst of all of that, I lost my dog. I don't think I ever showed my dog on my channel, but my dog of 12 years, I've had him since he was a puppy, since high school. I had him from sophomore year of high school until I graduated, and then he came with me to undergrad, and he graduated undergrad with me, and then he came with me to my master's program, and he graduated my master's program with me. And yeah, he was, fuck. Nope, we're not doing this. Stop it right now. We're okay. We are okay. Anyway, yeah. So I lost my dog. He passed away. So I've just been like grieving that, and yeah. And then the strike happened literally like at the same exact time. So I've been having to process a lot since like mid-October. It's just been like one thing after the other after the other. And just like having to deal with all of that like back to back to back really just like reignited my anxiety, and it kind of just like kicked into high gear, and that has like really prevented me from doing a lot, because I just have just been like crippled with anxiety. So all of that to say that that is what's been going on in my life, that has prevented me from doing anything beyond what is required of me in this very moment. I need a minute. I need to like compose myself. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. So anyway, like I was saying with my advisor, I told her that hopefully during the winter break I will be able to get caught up on a couple of things, since I won't have like classes or anything to worry about. So yeah, I'm trying to give myself some grace, because I know that like with everything else, the research part just wasn't gonna happen, and I know that, but it's really hard for me to say it and feel okay with myself when talking to the person that I'm supposed to be doing this work with. I'm just really hoping that I can just somehow get things back on track in the spring semester and just follow through on everything that I wasn't able to get done. Yeah. I mentioned in my last update video that I have externship. I have the hiccups now. I'm gonna try to talk through the hiccups because I don't feel like getting up to get water. I mentioned in my last update video that I have externship applications quickly approaching. And so if you want to see any sort of content surrounding externship applications, let me know in the comments and I will figure out a way to turn it into content. Because like I said, crippling anxiety, except for some reason when I'm making YouTube videos now. So if I can find a way to turn that process into content, maybe it will feel less daunting and I will be able to get through it in one piece. Yeah, so just let me know in the comments if you want any sort of externship content of some kind. I don't really care what it is. Ask me and I will probably do it. But overall, with the semester, I guess I'm just feeling really disappointed for a multitude of reasons. I think just dealing with problematic professors, dealing with seemingly problematic administration. We had an APA site visit during the strike. Oh my God, I don't know how I didn't talk about that. My program is up for accreditation this year, APA accreditation. Like, it's time for us to renew our accreditation. And so the APA site visit for the accreditation happened in the middle of the strike, and we were all required to participate in that site visit. And it was just like so weird. I don't want to get into that now because I just feel like that would just make this video annoyingly long. But long story short, like that whole process I did not like. They kind of like had a meeting with us beforehand to prep us on what we should and shouldn't say to the site visitors, which like I get in a way, but also like I feel like if you have to do that, then that means you know your program is problematic, and you're trying to do damage control before the damage happens. And I didn't like that at all. But that happened. Yeah, I didn't like the way the strike was handled. There was a lot of hostility that was being communicated through emails that everybody was getting, social media posts. It was terrible. And then also like with this whole externship process, it has just felt like I have really, my cohort, we all kind of feel like this. I think we don't feel like we've gotten any real guidance on that whole process. It has literally felt like we kind of were just thrown into this process, kind of being expected to know what was expected of us. There's just been a lot that I have felt really disappointed in where my program is concerned this semester. And it's almost like I've resigned myself to just knowing that I'm gonna be disappointed, and anytime something else happens, I'm like, okay, just add something else to the list of things that are fucked up here. And that is like extremely upsetting and just like not okay. And like I know like no program is perfect, but I feel like this semester in particular just highlighted a lot of things about my program that it just really like brought to light a lot of the skeletons in my program's hypothetical closet, I should say. Like there was just so much about my program and about my university in general, I think, that I just didn't really know until shit hit the fan this semester. And it was like, oh, okay, that's what this is. That's who y'all are, you know? And it's just really disappointing. And I'm at the point where I'm just like I'm just ready to be done. I'm now like counting down the years and days I have left in this program. Like I have 3.5 years left. I have next semester, 2 more years of externship, and internship year, and then I'm done. And they honestly could not come fast enough. I'm ready to get out of here at this point. And maybe that'll change next semester. Maybe next semester will be much better than this semester has been, and it will somehow change my outlook. But as of right now, that is where I'm at mentally with this program. So yeah, with that being said, that is all I have for my fall semester update. 2nd year of my PhD program, and this has been an absolutely wild semester. Thank you for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. I truly appreciate it. Leave me a comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and click that little notification bell so you don't miss my next upload. And I'll see you in my next one.